Hello, good morning, 5:35 a.m. Central Standard Time, December 22nd, 2019, fourth Sunday of Advent and last Sunday of Advent. So here we are with Ancient Age Preferred from Sazerac Company. Introduced in 1936, the Ancient Age family of whiskeys are pretty common, I think. The most famous of the batch is Ancient Age Straight Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. There's also Ancient Age 10 Star, which is a 6-year age straight bourbon, hard to find. And now we also have the Ancient Age Preferred. Now, are there other Ancient Age? Yes. Well, maybe. Yes, there's a 90 proof Ancient Age Kentucky Straight Bourbon, aged 3 years. That's not listed on their Buffalo Trace website. This is not listed on the Buffalo Trace website. It's on the Sazerac website in the product description. Drewski Brewski, Ronald the Riot, cheers. Cheers to you. Shadow says, I don't know what he's talking about. All right, anyway, carefully blended according to the finest old traditions, 40% alcohol, and it's got the 1-800 number, blended and bottled by Ancient Age Distilling, Frankfort Company, Frankfort, Kentucky. Well, there's no Ancient Age Distillery in Frankfort, Kentucky. There's Buffalo Trace in Frankfort, Kentucky. 80-20 blend ratio. All right, I see this at Winn-Dixie all the time. Now, the glass bottle is what I wanted. So I bought this in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, on Louisiana Highway 428 westbound at a place called Ben Q Liquors. Ben Q. Some of you Baton Rouge people know about Ben Q. When it was under the old ownership, it was called Cuban Liquors. Cuban. There's no need for tags. I'm looking at tags. There's no need to have tags because the competitor, Clubhouse, isn't going to taste anything like Ancient Age, and you never get it confused. Both of these are aged at least 4 years. At least 4 years. With natural flavors and caramel color. Don't know when Clubhouse came out onto the market. Can't find a correct answer. Don't know. I know it wasn't what they're showing on this trademark research because I had a bottle that I bought before they're saying the date. So anyway, it doesn't matter. Clubhouse is an old sort of like bar liquor brand. You know what I'm saying? Like Aristocrat. They have it at bars in the well drinks. You say, give me a whiskey and Coke. They're going to pull that. This thing hissed when I opened the bottle just now. Went, psh. That means there's some built up pressure in there. Yes. That didn't hiss, but this popped when I opened it. So for some reason inside that bottle, which is 80% empty, it's still got pressure building. All right. $8.99 for that bottle. $8.99 for that bottle. Clubhouse 1 liter, $6.99 at Savannah discount. $6.99 at Savannah discount. All right. Clubhouse. It's darker and it's copper. Copper, Ancient Age is golden. All right. Look at that gold whiskey. Now, both of these are not, neither one of these, I should say it that way. Let me speak correctly. Neither one of these are aged in new charred oak barrels. They're aged in used charred oak barrels, okay? Bourbon has to be a first run, never before used barrel. But blended whiskey, or just whiskey like Early Times is aged in used barrels. You can get Early Times, and then there's a non-website listed. There's an Early Times that's not on the website. It's called Early Times Bottled and Bond. Please trust me, believe me. If you get on any liquor company's website, or beer or wine, or beer or wine, and they say, here's our portfolio, believe me, that is not the portfolio. That is the portfolio that they care to show you. Then there's a whole lot of other stuff that they don't list that you will stumble across when you scout, like the whiskey scout. He scouts out whiskey. And you'll say, woof, what's this? You say, well, I know it exists. I'm holding it in my hand. I have the bottle. I've had this phenomena occur so many times with beer. It's incredible with beer, with beer, with beer. I have at least 20 cans and bottles of beer that theoretically doesn't exist, but I know it exists. I bought it. Like St. Ides Gold. You say, oh yeah, St. Ides high gravity malt liquor, black label. I know that. Yeah. No, I'm talking about St. Ides Gold. Beer. Okay. Colt 45 cold filtered lager beer. Not malt liquor. Lager beer. All right. Well, anyway, I don't want to go on with all that, but it's fascinating. All right. So there's no point to a blind taste test in this case, because both of these whiskeys are so far removed one from another. Blind, wide open, double blind, it doesn't matter. You're never going to get them confused. So that you're not going to be able to eliminate the bias, because you're going to know as soon as you smell it which is which. Now, when you got other ones that are similar, well, then you want to do a blind taste test. All right. You say, well, what if you did Guinness Foreign Extra Stout versus Busch Light? Why would you even compare those two? I mean, there would be no point to that. One is an imperial stout, and one is a light lager. That would make no sense. It would be like comparing a 1984 Nissan subcompact with a 2018 Dodge Challenger Hellcat. I mean, they're both vehicles. They roll. You press the accelerator, they'll move forward or backwards if you have it in reverse. But otherwise, there's no comparison. It's a nonsensical comparison, unless you're bringing in price point or some theoretics like that. Yes, it's true. I compared the Dragon's Milk White Stout, 6%, to Keystone Ice, 5.9%. But I was bringing in price point. Although they both are ales, Keystone Ice is an ale. But I was bringing in price point and those kind of considerations, not that one is comparable to the other, except for ABV, 5.9 and 6. That's pretty much even. Okay. This one smells pretty, what does it smell like? I've been saying the plum wine and the cocktail sherry. I really need to go buy some more Fairbanks cocktail sherry, because John and Nelia might want to examine that. And it's been so long since I've had it. I would like to experience it some more. I know it's made for cocktails, right? Mixed drinks, not sipping. But anyway, it is sippable. Okay, so this smells like ordinary blended whiskey, meaning it's about 80% grain spirits. It smells like, moonshine, corn alcohol, column still corn liquor. You say, well, moonshine doesn't have much aroma. You're right. Neither does this, except in that top side, the 20%, which I'm guessing 20%. Straight bourbon, and if it's from Heaven Hill, what is it? It's probably Heaven Hill. They're cheap, inexpensive straight bourbon whiskey. And there's some others too, like Kentucky Bow is a straight, you can get the black label, that's a straight bourbon whiskey. Whether it's any good, I don't know. I've never seen it in Louisiana. This one smells like plain old, plain Jane, run-of-the-mill, ho-hum. Just ordinary blended whiskey. It's the same thing. It's like 80% of the aroma is grain alcohol, and 20% is like straight bourbon. And you say, what's straight bourbon? Well, obviously, it's probably Ancient Age, which is a 3-year age straight Kentucky bourbon whiskey. I can smell it on my tongue. You say, smell it on your tongue. Okay. What I mean is when I take an inhalation and stick my tongue out, the fumes get on the tongue and you can taste it. You can taste the aroma. Yeah, tastes just like a smell. All right. Try it sometimes. You'll notice when and some are really strong, like if it's 100 proof or Wild Turkey 101 or like a Old Granddad 114. You might get drunk off just the fumes if you keep tasting it. I mean, that's an exaggeration, but it's that powerful. Okay, taste time. Good morning, Ron. How are you? Good morning, Maxwell. I'm fine. I'm a little chilly and cold because, it's only about 55. No, 52 degrees. But it's so damp. It was raining all night. I could hear the rain, the drizzle, the rain. So it makes it so damp. I have this little space heater in here, electric. I'm not going to heat the whole house with the big gas furnace when it's not even really cold in the house. You know what I'm saying? You can walk around. I have this pullover, hoodie, and undershirt. It's fine. It's just, now, I mean, if I had a guest come over, I would. Although some of the guests I have would like it. Like they seem to love cold. So anyway, but it's that way. It's going to be damp. And when you think of Louisiana weather, you can sometimes think of England weather in England. Damp, cloudy a lot of times. Humidity very high. When it gets chilly, it feels terribly cold. It's just cold. It's the dampness that gets you. Because if it's dry, 55 degrees and dry and sunny, low humidity, which does happen here occasionally, then it won't feel cold. You don't even feel cold. All right. So this tastes like grain alcohol. It's just very basic. This is so basic. Now that I have a taste for it, at first it was so exotic and shocking. I was so shocked with it, but now I've gotten used to it. Now you get the subtle plum notes, plum wine, subtle cocktail sherry, and ordinary old grain whiskey, corn. Think of corn grits. I had some corn grits this morning with beef hash in it. And of course, some hot sauce, black pepper, and I added a little salt. It was very nice. Ate it with a spoon. That was hot cereal. I wouldn't expect a whole lot with this. If I were you, and I wanted to pay $6.99 for a liter of cheap, I don't want to use the word cheap. I'm sorry, inexpensive. This would be fine. And you might say, well, who would expect a lot anyway with $6.99 a liter? Exactly. No one in their right mind would expect a lot. If you're only looking for the 80 proof and quality is no object, and I'm not saying this is really like necessarily low quality. It's made by a major company, Heaven Hill. They make Elijah Craig, barrel proof, and all this. Old Fitzgerald, $80 a bottle and all that. But I mean, the consistency's there. Their quality control is high, but it's like 1,000 milliliters of nothing. You got it. 1,000 milliliters of nothing. In Moscow, the weather is abnormal. There should be snow and cold, but it's raining and warm. Oh, okay. Drewski says, Jim, cheers. Okay. All right. Ancient Age. Yeah, it's another $8.99 bottle of nothing, but not quite nothing. Not quite. I wouldn't want to exaggerate and say it had a lot of flavor because it does not. It's very basic. It's a mixer to the hilt. Like 99.9999999, nearly to infinity, of people buying Ancient Age Preferred are not buying it to drink meat. I can absolutely guarantee you that. So as a sipper, it falls flat and is pathetic, basically. But as a mixer, probably work fine. You can pick up a little bit of that sour mash Ancient Age straight bourbon in it, because Ancient Age is a sour mash. I guess they're trying to mimic Jack Daniels more or less. Doesn't really mimic it. Sort of does. Their bottle is even similar to the old Jack Daniels bottles. Ancient Age, the whole story of Ancient Age was like mimicking, or you could say trying to come close to trademark violation without crossing the line. Because back in the 1930s, there was a product called Ancient Basket. No. Ancient something gin. But it was like a basket weave. That's what I'm saying. Like, you know, if you see the Seagram's gin today, the London Dry gin, you've seen that? And the glass is molded to look like basket weave. You know, it's like this. You know what I'm saying? Like that. It's a very famous brand of gin. Ancient. Oh, it's called Ancient Bottle. Ancient Bottle. Go get a bottle of Seagram's gin. You'll notice it. And it had this Old English AB, like Old English AB, Ancient Bottle Gin. Seagram's Ancient Bottle Gin. Well, all of a sudden, here's this company from Kentucky, which used to be what? Shinley? Now Buffalo Trace. Oh, well, hey, they've got Ancient Age gin and bourbon with the same Old English A, but it was A. And then the old bottles in the 1930s was that same basket weave type thing. I guess Seagram's just, I'm sure they hated them, but they probably said, they're not going to compete against us. We're Seagram's. We're the king. Shinley is like a joke. Who cares that they violate our trademark? Ain't nobody falling for that. Apparently no one did. So we still have Ancient Age, but they still have that Old English AA. But now they've gotten rid of the Seagram's mimic bottle and they've gone over to the Jack Daniels mimic bottle. Is that fooling anybody? Yeah, right. Like somebody's going to go to the liquor store and see Ancient Age and think it's Jack Daniels. Guess what? No, wrong. No one is going to. No one's going to taste it and think it's Jack Daniels either. But for $9.99 a bottle compared to $21.99 for Jack Daniels, it's a better value. It is a better value. I'll stand by that. I'll stand by that. In Moscow. Oh, you already said it. Yeah. Drewski Brewski says, yeah. Hey, Drewski Brewski. Yeah. I can see through mountains. Watch me disappear. What can we say about these two products? Which one is better? Don't even know if you'd want to use that kind of terminology for these. You might want to say which one is least offensive. Can't say offensive, though. They're not really offensive. They're just so bland. They're so boring. They're like a 1993 Ford Tempo four-door. It's like, well, you could buy it, and it probably will be all right for 10 years. Won't break down or anything. I mean, you might have a few mechanical repairs, but you only paid $9,400 for it. The insurance is cheap. Got the little 2.3 liter 4-cylinder engine. You could have really been cheap and bought a 5-speed manual, which some people did. I did that with a Corolla once. I had a 86, 2006 Toyota Corolla CE, and I had a stick shift 5-speed. I wanted that. I looked all around on the internet, and finally I found one that had it, Lakeside Toyota. But it was so rare because it was a 5-speed, but it had the power equipment group, power windows, power door locks, tilt steering, CD player, you know what I mean? All of that. But it had manual. It was very rare. I mean, they really don't have that combination much. So I bought it, you know, and it was great car. I mean, the gas mileage was incredible. I bought it for 16,000. I think it was 16,287, something like that, 16,287. It'd still be running, probably still is running. But it was more of a city car, driving around the city, perfect for that. But on long road trips, like to New York City and all that, it was kind of like riding in a buggy, like an old horse-drawn buggy. You know, it had no road handling. So when I bought the Dodge Avenger, it was like a whole different world. The 2012 Dodge Avenger. I went from riding in a buggy to like grabbing the road, you know, grabbing the interstate. There was no comparison to Dodge Avenger handling and the Corolla. Of course, I took a hit on gas mileage, but not a big hit. Not a big hit. Not incredible. I still was getting 32 mpg on the highway, and it had 173 horsepower, so I had a lot better. And it was real good torque horsepower. I mean, it was a Dodge World engine. So that was dynamite for road trips. That car, it was just fabulous. You know, instead of trading in for the truck that I have now, which is great, the Ram 1500, I almost went for the Challenger. Challenger. I almost went to that. But anyway, but these here are sort of like below what I was talking about. I said a Corolla, but I'm talking about you get one with no power windows, no power door locks, roll up windows. We're talking about a 2006 Corolla CE. You got AM/FM radio, no CD, but you still might have the jacks to hook up your play it through your phone. Now you still have that, and you might have gotten a brand new one for $13,999. No joke, serious, true story. These are kind of like that. They're reliable. They're serviceable, but there's no real enjoyment with them. Like if you bought the vehicle I just described, it would get you from point A to point B, get around town. You wouldn't go to the repair shop much, if ever. I mean, you would occasionally. The battery would go out or something like that, or some little irritating thing would break, but nothing major. So, but it would be no real enjoyment driving. It would not be a touring car. You drove it to California, it would be pretty miserable, to drive it. And if you had to drink these every day, it would get very depressing. It would be like, that would be like a cure for alcoholism. You might say, I have a drinking problem. I can't stop. What are you drinking? Crown Royal XO. It's $89 a bottle. Oh, okay. Well, it's very delicious, and it's making you want to drink more. But if you stocked your house with this stuff, there would be the end of your drinking problem. You'd just go back to normal drinking, maybe a drink a day. You know what I'm saying? Like, you wouldn't be an alcoholic on this because it would be too off-putting. You know what I'm saying? It'd be so humdrum. It would be no point to it. You would say, I'll just drink coffee or water, something like that. It would just cure you, because it's so unappealing in an overall sense. So that's what these things do. They just exist. They simply exist. But there's no great appeal. All right. You say, why do the examinations? Well, because they exist. You see what I'm saying? They don't have to have appeal. They exist. So I examine them. They're consumer products. People can buy them. And many people do. Like, millions of people every week. So next we have Bellows Club Whiskey, which is actually grim. That's pretty grim. The Bellows Club Whiskey, I can barely stand that. That's got to be one of the most unpleasant. I'm serious. There'll be no need for tags there. And then the Bellows blended whiskey, which is pretty nice, coming from Missouri. That's not a bad one. So, and then that'll be the end. And then it's on to the Great White North, on to Canada, on to Canada. Thanks for watching this video production. Now I'm going to watch the news.